I have always said that to become a world-class striker, you need to score against the biggest and the greatest teams on earth. Now, Eddie Nketiah didn't do that yesterday. He just scored against Liverpool. But I am very grateful all the same. This is today's Arsenal News Show. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys and girls for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show. Joining you every single morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Thank you so much as always for joining me and making this a part of your morning routines. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a really good start to your weekends. I know that yesterday in terms of football, it was pretty darn good. I think we can all be pretty pleased with how yesterday went down. We were just stolen away from 4 brilliant results. We managed to get at least 3, but 4. It was stolen by a man who decided to take his shirt off while celebrating an equaliser for Tottenham at home against the bottom of the league. But, you know, we can't always be palling you. But anyway, moving away from celebrating draws at home against the team finishing, absolutely going to be finishing bottom of the table, and into, of course, today, Arsenal take on Newcastle at St James's Park this afternoon. 4:30 kickoff. I'm going to be heading off pretty shortly after today's show up to King's Cross before getting the train all the way up to the Tyneside. To the Tyneside. Wow, just to Tyneside would do, but we're giving them the Tyneside this morning. But good morning to all of you joining us live in the chat box. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. I've got a new desk. The new desk has arrived. If you watched our breakdown of the setup, I did say that I was going to be getting a new desk, and it's a new desk that's I'm excited about this day. Now, I'm not like, you know, a stationary or kind of furniture, I don't know what the word is, nerd, if you will. But I'm excited about this desk. One, because it goes up and down. So I get quite annoyed of having to sit at a desk all day. So now I can stand at my desk. I know, exciting times. Really is transforming worlds. But also it's kind of a lot bigger, which means I've got more space. And I can also now get my chair. If you watch the previous shows, you'll see the chair is like this all the time because I couldn't get it under my old desk. Now I can get it under the desk. It looks a little bit more, you know, and now Win can sit also on the desk as well. So, you know, happy days. Can annoy those people that get annoyed by soft toys. Oh, amazing that people still get annoyed by soft toys. Right, let's go into the chat, shall we? Your defense is in trouble, says Matt G. Indeed. If you remember that chant, it's amazing how quickly we forget brilliant pieces of music artistry, isn't it? But Nketiah is indeed in the room. Brian, good morning to you, to Barry, to Mohammed, to Arasilki and Sid. We've got Claire, we've got Granddaddy Gooner, we've got Jorgen and Sid and Paul, we've got Olawale, we've got Maximius and Rancid, we've got Martin, our other Paul in the chat box, Brad and Mike. We've got Steve Stone, we've got Black Shine, we've got Ronald, Rob as well. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, we haven't done one of these in a long time, but we're going to be doing a giveaway on the channel. And we're going to be doing a giveaway of Arsenal's new third kit. I came into possession of an extra third kit. I already have the third kit. So I thought, why not give it away? So I'm going to give away a third kit. It's a men's large. And that's the only size I've got. Sorry. I've just got an extra shirt to give away. So I've got a men's large Arsenal third kit to give away. The way that you're going to enter this competition is that you need to do 3 things. 3 things to enter this. 1, I think live within a boundary where I can actually send the shirt to. But we'll see about that. We'll see how feasible it is. If it turns out I can't send it to some very far off place, then we may need to pick a second winner. But we'll try our best to work out how we're going to send it if the person who wins it happens to be somewhere else in the world. Second thing is you're going to need to follow me on Instagram. I'm doing it. I'm doing what all the kids are doing. I'm making you follow me on Instagram because that's where we're going to do the giveaway, and that's how I'm going to work out how to do it. Because I could do a YouTube comment, but it's much harder to get in touch with people who leave YouTube comments. So we're going to do it on Instagram. So at Tom Canton Media on Instagram. And what's going to happen is I'm going to do the match day vlog for today's game against Newcastle. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I do our match day vlogs, or I do kind of a little 2-minute load of clips of what it's like covering Arsenal as a journalist at games. So I'm going to do the match day vlog. And at the end of that vlog, I will remind you that you're going to leave a comment, any comment you like. Although if you're mean, I may discount you. But you're going to leave a comment on that Newcastle match day vlog when it goes up either late tonight, but more likely tomorrow. So I'll remind you in tomorrow morning's show of the giveaway as well. And then I'm going to put a number next to your comment. And then on the show, we're going to do a random number generator. So we'll find out who has won in the giveaway. So let's hope it. If you are in the UK, please enter because you'll make it easier on my posting packaging. But I'm not going to rule out everyone else as well. But it would be helpful for me if one of them won. And it won't be a fix because we will do a random number generator live on the show. So, but please, all my UK listeners, please get involved with this giveaway. And good luck to everyone. and I hope that indeed that you are fortunate to win it. But it's a men's large Arsenal third kit that we're going to be giving away on the channel. So you need to be following me out on Instagram. And wow, I'm already getting people are already following me. It's amazing. Your phone starts buzzing. Anyway, why weren't you following me anyway? Disgraceful behavior. It's going to expose a lot of you, is what it's going to do. Right, let's, of course, the vlog is on my Instagram page, Rich, not a football London. It's going to be on @Tom Canton Media. It's a vlog, not a blog. It's a vlog. So yeah, anyway, we've been going 6 minutes. I've not done a single slide, and Barry from the Midlands is going to be very annoyed. Right, let's go, shall we? And start with some bad news, unfortunately, because the Arsenal women did suffer their first drop points of the WSL season. A frustrating draw with Aston Villa, considering up until the 94th minute of the game, they were indeed winning the match. And, of course, Renee Sleggers will be very disappointed to only come away with a single point. Frida Marnon with the goal in the 10th minute before Lucy Parker scored in the 94th minute. It's their second drop points of the season, I should say. And of course, puts them now 1 point behind Chelsea. But Chelsea already have a game to play today. So they could go 4 points behind Chelsea if indeed they are unsuccessful in their wishes of a Chelsea defeat, which is, as we know these days in the WSL, very unlikely. You pretty much need to win every single game to be able to beat Chelsea these days. It's very, 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 very frustrating indeed. But it is what it is. We move to the next one. I think, European champions, hopefully we can do a double on that, or at least win one of the other cups. But the WSL is going to be very, very hard. Moving into the Premier League, though, and looking at yesterday's results, Brentford's won the El Sacico. But is it going to be an end to Ruben Amorim's tenure at Manchester United? We can all hope not. But there is, without a doubt, a sense that it is edging closer and closer towards the end for Ruben Amorim. I mean, Brentford, of course, have not been particularly good this season, and the likes of Brian and Burma, who have left Brentford to join Manchester United, well, it's rather ironic now, isn't it, that they find themselves in this position. They move above them in the table on goal difference, moving up to 13th place with a -2 goal difference. Manchester United have won 2, drawn 1, lost 3, and sit on -4 goal difference, also on 7 points. What a glorious day to be alive to witness. Also, Chelsea losing 3-1. Actually, you know what's really funny? Until this very moment, I thought it was still 2-1. But Chelsea managed to lose 3-1 on the day with a 100th minute second goal for Danny Welbeck. You love to see it. Trevor Chalobah getting sent off in that game. And of course, causing something of the fight back from Brighton to get the result on the day. Leeds United drew 2-2 with Bournemouth. Manchester City won out 5-1 winners against Burnley. Nottingham Forest lost at home again. Lost at home. Nottingham Forest. Ange Postecoglou. What did I say? Did I not say this was the worst appointment they could have made? Yes, it most certainly is. Losing 1-0 at home to Sunderland. Spurs scored a 94th minute equaliser at home against bottom of the table Wolves, which caused Paulinho to decide to rip his shirt off and celebrate like he just won the World Cup. Now, I am not one that is usually into the whole celebration police, the whole this whole celebration thing. But what I will say is that I think that if there is to be an argument for the celebration police, It is probably when you've scored a 94th minute equaliser against the team bottom of the table, to which point you not only take your shirt off and run to the fans, but you flex your muscles and your abs like, as I say, you've just won the World Cup. It's not a show of strength. It's a show of Spurs, is what I would say to that. So that was rather embarrassing too. But the big result, of course, of yesterday is that of Crystal Palace, who took the lead, of course, early in the game against Liverpool. Ismaila Sarr with the goal before Liverpool did indeed manage to find an equaliser in the 87th minute. However, this equaliser has drawn quite some scrutiny, and rightly so, because Mohamed Salah, I do not know how VAR has managed to miss one of the most blatant handball decisions you will ever see. And it is these moments that we find ourselves again having to have these conversations about VAR and officiating in a game that involves Liverpool, or as it's become better known now, Liverpool. It is staggering to me how often we find these situations occurring. It is a joke that decision. And if they're, and you know, if Palace hadn't have won the game, you know, there's a tiny part of me, and it's only a very tiny part of me because I'm very glad that they won. But I fear that because Palace won the game in the end, this decision won't get as much attention as it should do. I didn't watch Match of the Day, but I'm reliably informed they didn't even cover this on Match of the Day. I imagine it's because Palace won the game. But if they had not have won the game, I would have hoped that they would have. It is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And it needs more scrutiny. It needs more coverage. I do look forward to reading the ESPN coverage, of course, as we always do. Dale Johnson, who does the ESPN Ref Watch, which we'll have on Monday. And let's see what they say in that. But let's move from that because I'd end up just getting frustrated even more than I am about it. But Crystal Palace, Eddie Nketiah, 97th minute. Justice is served. And Arne Slot looks like a whingy little baby at full time as well, going up to the referee and asking how many minutes are being played. Kind of mental, isn't it? That Arne Slot has the guile and the gall to go up to an official and ask how they've got so many minutes for added time. It is a little bit strange, isn't it? But it is the reality of what we saw on the day. And Eddie Nketiah, former Arsenal man, of course, getting the result that we all have been wanting. And that is finally the chickens coming home to roost. That's the phrase, right? Is it chickens? Chickens coming home to roost? Or is it? I think it's chickens. I'm going to go with chickens. I think we've done phrases before where we've got animal analogies completely wrong. It's the Tigers coming home to roost today for Liverpool. But yeah, it's about time that the fractures that we've witnessed in their performances this season finally hens, not chickens. You're saying some people are saying hens. The hens have come home to roost. Chickens are hens. They're the same. They're the same animal. Chickens have. Why are you confusing me for? The Nando's coming home to roost, says Happy. Yes, indeed. It's definitely chickens. What are you doing to me? Eagles. Archie, you're a genius. You're an absolute genius. Why didn't I think of that? I'm usually pretty good with my puns, but that is the level. If you're going to come in and put a joke into the chat box, people, that's what Archie has done there. That is the level, all right? That is the expectation. That's the level of comedy we want to see. The Eagles coming home to roost would have certainly have been the right thing to say. Gooner Oz says, hens are female chickens. Chickens are female, right? And then roosters are male. What? I thought all chickens were female and all roosters were male. Am I going mad? Is a rooster a male chicken then? What's going on? It's oh no, my whole worldview is being thrown upside down. Oh goodness gracious! I don't know what's going on anymore. Hens and roosters are both chickens. All chickens roost. Oh goodness me, what has happened? Oh, my brain. It's just too early. I knew this would happen when you do a show at 8 a.m. for so many days in a row. Oh dear. Do only male chickens roast? Says Rich. What's going on? Anyone who's just tuned in, this is an Arsenal show. I swear. I don't know what's going on here. Somehow I've managed to get my entire worldview of chickens all the wrong way around just by saying the chickens have come home to roost. But apparently, I have. Here we go. Anyway, goodness gracious me, I'm gonna have to go to an expert. I'm gonna have to go to a poultry expert about this. But yes, Liverpool losing. Let's bring it back to the football. My goodness me. Liverpool won their game on the day. Sorry, Liverpool lost their game on the day, which means that they sit on 15 points. Arsenal play Newcastle today at 4:30. They can move to 13 points and just 2 behind Liverpool with a victory on Tyneside. The other game left to play today is a 2 o'clock kickoff between Aston Villa and Fulham. So that game is indeed going to go ahead. My head's gone. And then tomorrow, of course, Everton against West Ham as well. Martin Odegaard was not spotted in the training pictures that we saw from the club that were released. It doesn't mean, of course, that he wasn't there. Doesn't mean that he was not involved. But Martin Odegaard is still hoping to be involved in today's game. In fact, Arteta did confirm that he would be training both yesterday and the day before. And had he indeed done that, he was in contention to potentially even start this weekend against Newcastle. So that's where we're at. And that's why we're now going to go to part 2, which is a little mini preview right after this. So, Arsenal travel up to St James's Park, taking on Newcastle, looking to get a first victory in, I think, 3 visits to the Northeast. Arsenal's record there is absolutely shocking. They've won 1 of 5 matches played there, of course, being beaten twice last season in both the league and in the League Cup semi-final second leg. It is a game, of course, which does not include any longer Alexander Isak. It is now Nick Woltemade who takes on the Gunners. I heard from Christian Norgard after the game against Port Vale, where he told myself and Simon Collins and John Davies from the Evening Standard and the Sun, respectively, that indeed he's very, he knows who Nick Woltemade is. He's very familiar with him and he's very impressed with him. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on in this game. But Arsenal's team, for me, this is what I would go for. Hoping that Odegaard is, of course, fit to play, which Arteta seems to believe that he will be, if indeed that he played these 2 training sessions, which we're led to believe that he indeed did. So let's go through it. For me, David Raya in goal, Julian Timber at right back, Saliba and Gabriel at the back, Calafiori at left back, Zubimendi in the 6. What a season that man has had. Declan Rice at left 8, Odegaard in the right 8, Saka at right wing, Gyökeres through the middle, and Eza on the left. That's the team that I'd go for. And for many, this is potentially our best team, period. This is potentially our best team. Some people would say it's Havertz instead of Gyökeres, and I think that is a debatable position, certainly. Everywhere else, though, I think this is Arsenal's best 11 for the majority of games that they'll play over the course of the season. So it could be an exciting time when we see the lineup. That being said, there is still the very real possibility that Mikel Merino does indeed manage to start in that right 8 role again. And, I won't complain all that much about it if indeed that does happen, because I do think that there is some cause for that to be the case. I know some people would like to see Eza play in the 10, although I would say that against Port Vale, Eza and Nwaneri in the kind of double 8s roles didn't necessarily see us step up our attacking capabilities all that much. But I think there is a real potential that we see Merino in the starting 11 again today away from home in a game that is obviously always very physical, very demanding. I think there's a good chance that we see it. But let's get your score predictions, please, in the chat box. What are you feeling ahead of the game? How do you think this is going to play out? What score lines are you going for? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Are you a little bit apprehensive about this game? Let us know with your score lines in the chat. Temmie's reverse psychology says 4-0 defeat, Voltemada hat-trick, and a late Freya free kick own goal. Or rather, a freak Raya own goal and red card. Arasuka says 1-0 to the Arsenal. Claire says 2-0 to the Arsenal. Gabriel and Rice direct from a corner. Abdullah Kim says Gyökeres to score in a 1-0 win. And Arasuka says 1-0 Maya. Maror, says 4-1 to the Arsenal. I hope that is. Sweatimo says 2-0. Again, I hope to the Arsenal. Temi Tope says 1-0 to the Arsenal. Mohammed says 3-1 to the Arsenal. Nike says 2-1 to the Arsenal as well. Jerome reckons the dirty Newcastle are going to win 1-0 in the game. Sooty says 3-1 to us. Emmanuel says 2-0. Saxon says 2-0 as well. Rancid says 2-1 Arsenal. Saka and Eza. Swan's going for a 2-0 win. Jarvis a 2-1 victory. Connor's going for a 2-1 win as well. Michael reckons that would be a 0-0 draw. Z says 1-0 Gyökeres from the penalty spot. Steve says 2-1 to the Arsenal. Gyökeres and Saka with the goals. Matthew Freese is going for a 1-0 victory, as is Clint. Harvey says 2-0 in the game. Boston says Eza floating 10. Martinelli left wing to counter Alanga pace and 3-1 to the Arsenal. Soup says 2-1 to the Arsenal as well. And I'll continue to throw some of these up while I go to part 3. Your questions and more right after this. Now, I am obviously travelling quite far up north today, but there are going to be times throughout the season where, of course, I'm travelling a little bit further than just up north and, in fact, going pretty far afield. In fact, yesterday, I was planning the trip to Bruges in December for Arsenal's Champions League match later on in the year. Very much looking forward to that trip. Perfectly timed, I think, a trip to Bruges in December. Christmas markets, the lot. Perfectly timed. But there are going to be moments after the game where maybe I want to watch the highlights and I can't. And there's only one thing that I can use, of course, to make sure that I am not going to be in a threat about what is going on with my location digitally. And that is, of course, the use of NordVPN. And if you go to nordvpn.com/Gooner, you can get yourself a significant discount off a 1 or a 2 year plan. And if you go indeed get that 2 year plan, you get 4 months extra thrown in free. Well, who can say any fairer than that? Well, I can, because you can get a 30-day money back guarantee if you're not happy with the service for whatever reason as well. nordvpn.com/Gooner. Link is in the description, of course, as well. Change your geodigital location perfectly and with just the touch of a button, and protect yourself while you're using those public Wi-Fi services. Again, going to be in another hotel this evening while traveling, watching the Arsenal, of course, and covering for the Mirror and Football.London, in which case, being in a hotel, using a public Wi-Fi service, I'm going to have that VPN system turned on, and Nord is the only way to go with that. Right, let's go to part 3, as I say, and tackle some of your questions. So let's get those into the chat box. If you've got one, use a capital Q. It really does help them stand out. Tematope says, don't you think Zubimendi would be overrun in the midfield in this match? Absolutely not. No, I don't. I think Zubimendi has been excellent so far in maintaining the space in that number 6 position. He's been good in pretty much every single game he's played so far for Arsenal. No, I'm not concerned. We didn't buy Zubimendi to then drop him for games away at Newcastle. These are the games in which we are hoping that he is going to help level up Arsenal's ability to beat the likes of Newcastle. So absolutely, this is without a doubt a game for Zubimendi, and I have no doubt that he is the right man for that. Jay says, are you dog watching Win? I'm always dog watching Win, Jay. Always. Temmie says, Tom, I live in hell. How do you get the shirt across? Well, it's going to take me a while to get there, mate, but I'm sure it'll happen one day. Lloyd says, GG, Tom, stop pronouncing Eze as Eza, both from Igbo language and have completely different meanings. Okay, I'm going to nip this in the bud now. Eza has said, both in interviews that I have witnessed and also with his Premier League pre-season comments, that he pronounces it Eza. I'm going to keep pronouncing it Eza until he decides, indeed, he wants everyone to say Eze. Please stop telling me to pronounce it differently to the way the man himself has said it is pronounced. You don't need to tell me anymore. And quite frankly, if you keep telling me or keep trying to correct me on it, it's just going to come across as trolling in the chat. And we know how we follow with trolls in the chat. So please stop telling me to change the way I'm pronouncing Eze's name beyond what he himself has said. If I tell you how to pronounce my name, I'd hope you pay me the respect of saying it the way that I've said it, in the same way that I hope that Eza appreciates the fact that I say Eza, because that's what he said. So please, please just accept that he has said it's Eza in an interview where he had to tell people how to pronounce his names. So just stop telling me to pronounce his name that other way, because I'm not going to do it until he says it's pronounced differently. Give it a rest, please. Okay. Fred says, I don't know if you heard from Harry, Tom, but he said that Zubimendi is only effective when he plays alongside Rice due to his lack of physicality. I don't really agree with him there, to be fair. I wouldn't agree with Harry either. Lucas says, who is the referee for today's game? Also, Tom, about the challenge, is Chelsea's game being kicked in the head a clear penalty shocking decision? Let's hope we don't get some dodgy decisions today. I don't think I saw that, Lucas, actually. Yeah, I wanted to go and check that out. I was out yesterday. I was watching my Vets team play, as I mentioned, so I missed all of the football live and had to catch up on a bit of it, so I haven't seen that. The referee for today's game, I believe, is Jared Gillett. I'm pretty sure it is Jared Gillett for Arsenal Newcastle. I'm just going to double check for you, but I'm pretty sure it is Jared Gillett. Let me just go and search. Jared Gillett has been handed the keys to the contest. Yes, the VAR is Darren England for this game. So, yes, Jared Gillett again. Goodness gracious me. Let's go to Elliot says, Tom, are you confident Arsenal will take advantage of Liverpool slip up? I'm always confident. It's me. Sooty says, Eza isn't the problem. Norgard was the one. Yeah. The player that we absolutely have to ask really how to pronounce his name is Norgard, because Norgard, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, because the O, obviously with the accent on it, is a kind of sound. It's like Odegaard. It's a Norgard. He, of course, has said his name differently in 2 different interviews. So I'm very much intrigued about that one. And I heard from him on Wednesday night. Probably should have asked him. He did confirm that his injury actually was a knee issue. So it was a knee problem that he'd been suffering with, not a muscular issue. So all those people that were kind of using Norgard in kind of the muscular problems camp, yeah, it's absolutely not. Martin says, Jesus Christ, why do we always get this Liverpool supporting Muppet? He's appalling. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to be fair, whoever we get given as a referee, I'm never literally sitting there and going, yay, we've got them this week. It's never pleasing, is it? Whoever you get given at all. Jay says, would you be upset if we put Marino in the right 8 if Odegaard is unavailable? Not upset, no. I think I'm very much fine with it being Marino for this game. I was annoyed and frustrated with it against Man City because you're at home, you got the impetus, you got the control, you're going to have the dominance. I think we lacked the extra attacker. But away from home at Newcastle is a very physical, difficult game. I don't really have a problem with Marino playing in this one, to be fair. Steve says, Tom, as both of us coming from Kent, I will never stop telling you to pronounce Z as Z instead of your preferred Z. Do I say Z? I feel like I say Z as well, but maybe I say Z. I don't know, Steve. The amount of times people say that I should say seen instead of sin, but it's because I come from Medway. I say sin. I'm sorry, but that's also never going to change. That's a dialect thing. So I just think people are so too precious about pronunciations. I get it, like if it's someone's name and they've explicitly said, this is how my name is pronounced, please pronounce it this way. I get it. But like if something's a dialect, like when I say sin instead of seen, people are just so precious about it. So precious about it. The only thing that I get precious about in that kind of, what's the word? What's the word? Is it lexicography? I think is kind of team names. So like Athletic Club in Bilbao. It's not Athletic Bilbao. It is Athletic Club. It's not even Athletic Club de Bilbao. There's no de Bilbao on it. It's just Athletic Club. So an Atletico Madrid, not Atletico Madrid. It's Atletico Madrid. So those are the ones I'm kind of, but that's because they're the names. That's what they are. So, you know, and I get them wrong. And I know that massive journalists also get them wrong. So it does happen, but it's not the end of the world. People get bent out of shape for some reason about it. Terence says, morning, Tom. Do we not find it funny that some of the fans continue to complain Mikel Arteta had to go for small mistakes he made, yet look at the results for the big clubs yesterday? I know who I'd rather have. I know. You tell me, mate. Tom says, do you think the Liverpool loss yesterday will add to the pressure of previous visits to Newcastle, or will it push the players to go all out for the win? Well, let's put it this way. If Liverpool had won yesterday, the pressure arguably would be even greater because Liverpool would be potentially 8 points ahead of us going into this game. We know that an absolute minimum at the end of the day, they're going to have, between 5 and 2 points difference. It's not going to be any more than 5 come the end of today after this week's action. So Arsenal will have ended by an absolute minimum their first 6 games that included Liverpool, City, away to Newcastle, Anfield, of course, in that, and away to Manchester United. In those games, 3 of Arsenal's toughest away games in their first 6 matches, and they would have come out at a very minimum only 5 points, potentially 2 points behind their league leaders. So that is very, very encouraging indeed. So that's it. It's always difficult to kind of look at the table so early on in the season because everyone's points are so tightly closed and packed together. But it's more you have to kind of have a look at how many points you've accumulated over the what fixtures you've got. If Arsenal win today, there'll be net 2+ on the previous campaign. If they don't win today, there'll be 1 net point lost down on the previous season. But if you look at the teams that Arsenal have faced so far this campaign, I'm very happy with how things have gone so far. We have to try and get a win. Every game is a must-win when you're going for the title. We all know that. And if Arsenal do manage to get a win today, it will represent for me being 2 points behind the leaders after the first 6 games where we've played 3 of our hardest away fixtures of the season. That is really, really encouraging for us. So that's very positive. Soup says, Paul Merson says, our title challenge would be over if we lost to Newcastle. That's because he's on Sky and you have to say very inflammatory, rage-baity things. That's just how it works. And he says, would you want to defend deep with Voltemade being a certain aerial threat with his height? I don't, for multiple reasons. I don't think we will defend deep, nor do I think the selection of Marino makes you defend deep in any way at all either. So, no, I don't think Arsenal will be defending deep in this game, whether they choose Marino or not. Lucas says, with Noni injured, should we have Max Dowman on the bench? 100%. And I'd be surprised if he isn't on the bench. He absolutely should be because he is an option for us instead of Madueke while he is out injured. Boston says, we beat the Toon and we will go to the next 5 unbeaten while Liverpool struggles with City, United and Chelsea to come. Fuad says, Tom, are you enjoying the shellacking Europe are giving the US in the Ryder Cup in their own backyard? I am indeed loving the absolute battering. Sorry if you're a US fan, but loyalties for me go out the window for you guys during the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup is a very special tournament and one in which Europe have a horrendous record when it comes to playing out there. So forgive it from me to see, or rather say that I'm very pleased to see. And also when you see like Trump walking up to the first tee, only for them to get battered as well, that just adds a little bit of spice to enjoy the absolute battering that we're witnessing as well over there too. So yeah, it's good to see. I always do find it a little bit, as you know, not to go a little bit too political, but there is an irony, of course, it being Europe, of course, relations with Europe as a nation, as Britain has been not exactly the best from a social standpoint, of obviously Brexit. But it is always an irony, I find, when Europe compete together as one, and you've got, of course, British golfers in that team. So there's always an irony there. I find quite funny. Let's go to Jay, who says, who will be on the subs bench as when all of our players are fit? There will be 2 and 3 players that don't make the squads. I mean, today, obviously, we're going to be without Madueke, Hincapié, Havertz, Jesus. Odegaard should be back. Can't think of anyone else that we might be missing. So that's 4. So I think we will be fine with everybody, even with Dowman there. So I don't think we will have anybody missing. Carl says, don't you think it's pretty reasonable thing to say Arteta is better tactically sound than Slot, although Slot has great qualities like transition? Yeah, I think Arteta is a more tactically rounded manager than Slot. Slot last season obviously had quite a lot of fortune when it comes to the league. He faced 2 sides that were going to be competing with him that lost their best players to injury for the majority of the campaign, whereas, of course, Liverpool had it. It's no surprise, of course, that Liverpool didn't win any other competition last season. they were able to be the most consistent across the campaign because they had the most consistent available squad of the 3 viable teams for the title. So, yeah, I think tactically Arteta is probably and has the edge over Slot. But we have seen in previous seasons Arteta tactically also get things wrong. I mean, we did it as recently, I think, against City with the selection of Mourinho. So, he's not perfect. He still gets things wrong, definitely. Eddie says, imagine being a Liverpool fan, watching them concede in the last minute and get to officiate Arsenal tomorrow. What on earth could you be alluding to? Jamie says, Tom, did you see the Daily Mail article yesterday? It was from Ihsan Khan, who broke this story, saying the stadium expansion will be only limited to a few thousand extra seats. Board appointments done for this reason. That's not surprising, because if you think about the logistical challenges of expanding the Emirates it's significant. It's not an easy thing to do. The Emirates is very much limited. The only way that they could potentially expand it is maybe by going down, which would be a massive major construction, and I just can't see that happening. Arsenal have the most legroom, the biggest seats in the league. They absolutely could restructure certain aspects of the stadium to fit in new seats. So that's the way I think they should go, but they are only going to improve it by a few thousand seats. It's not going to be a massive overhaul. I think what needs to change is the actual infrastructure of the stadium. That's what needs to be updated. The capacity of the Emirates is 60,574, is it? Emirates capacity. 60,704. I was close. Seats. So I don't think that that's an amount that desperately needs to increase. Obviously, it'd be nice to go above Spurs' capacity. What's Spurs stadium capacity? Because it was like one of the things they built. Yeah, 62,850. If we get 3,000 more seats in that stadium just to do that, it'd be quite funny. But I think that from an Arsenal perspective, it's very difficult to be looking at that and going, that's going to be 70,000, 80,000. It's just not feasible. Nor do I think we need to go that big, to be honest. There are games, yes, when tickets are in high demand, but I think there are other aspects of the stadium that need to be addressed way before an expansion, like getting fans into the ground. The actual entrances need to be overhauled, in my opinion. The seats need to be replaced or recolored or painted or something to improve the vibrancy inside the stadium. What they've done to the outside of the stadium is great, but the inside of the stadium needs to be made more vibrant. I think there's a question to be asked about the reallocation of where the away section is in the Emirates Stadium, because I think we're too generous with our away allocation in terms of its location on the pitch. I think it should be in the upper tier. If Newcastle can have fans in the upper tier, I don't see why Arsenal can't have that. So that needs to be something to be looked into. But and the Wi-Fi, as Paul says, now my Wi-Fi is great, but for fans that are going as well, the Wi-Fi in the stadium, I don't necessarily think that's a priority, because I mean, why do you need to have Wi-Fi in the stadium? I guess location reason, I guess to message your mates and say where you are. But are you really going to be on your phone throughout the game? You're going to be tweeting through the game? I don't think that's as much of a priority, but it is a problem, and it isn't good enough. But yeah, certainly. And a lot of you seem to be saying about the Wi-Fi. To be fair, Jamie says, yes, agree, Tom. Some obvious upgrades are needed. The toilet was filled to the brim, he says, in the last men's game. So maybe the toilets need to be looked at. Jamie, that sounds like a you problem. Donny says, I wish we could increase the capacity of Drayton Park train station. Would be brilliant, because it is, of course, next door. Yeah, Drayton Park is, I think, one of the most underused. I often go to Drayton Park. I often get the tube to Highbury and Islington and then catch the train one stop to Drayton Park, get off, and then walk through the stadium. Which, if you watch my match day vlog from the City game, you would have seen that entranceway from Drayton Park as well. Abdul Hakim says, I hate where Newcastle allocate the away fans. No real connections with the players. You're absolutely right, mate. Steve says, I'm not sure the local authorities would allow an increased capacity. As I say, it's a very challenging mission for the club to achieve. Paul says, I use the club level Wi-Fi and it's brilliant, but the terrace Wi-Fi is rubbish. 2-tier experience, not good. It's 2-tier. It's two-tier Arsenal Stadium. Goodness me, that phrase 2-tier it's coming to its own in 2025. It truly has. Steve says, yeah, I'm not sure about the local authorities. We kind of touched on that. James says the fact that the Emirates now doesn't have an IPA is also criminal. That needs to change. I don't mind Asahi. I think it's a great lager, but I do know that our friends who love an IPA and prefer an IPA probably should be catered for also. Ant says, I don't know anyone who uses Arsenal tube station. It's a crazy station. Well, if it's a crazy station, Ant, surely loads of people are using it. So I don't know anyone who uses it. Surely loads of people are using it if it's a crazy station. So Nicholas says, if you need a bigger toilet, there's a pretty big one down the road also as well. Way. Great joke. That's the level. Again, that's the level of comedy we want in our chat box, people. If you're going to pop in with a joke, that's the level. That's the expectation, all right? Anyway, I'm very conscious of the time because I've got to get packed and ready to go to Newcastle. So we are going to wrap things up there. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Hey, hold on. James says, Tom, I now know you don't have... When did I say I don't like an IPA? When did I say that, James? I said Asahi is a good lager, and it is a good lager. Didn't say that I don't drink an IPA. I love an IPA, and I love a craft beer. Don't get me wrong, James. So don't judge me early, son. You've gone too early there. I do enjoy a decent IPA. You know, I had a real period of drinking a lot of Beavertown, a lot of neck oil, a lot of Gamma Ray. That was kind of my jam for 2024, I think. And then before that. Before the controversies came out, I was obviously drinking quite a bit of Brewdog. I think was usually the one I was going for, but I haven't drunk Brewdog in quite a while. And James says, "You're right, Tom. I judged you early, and I apologise." Well, thank you. That's what it's about. Black Halo Man says, "Pancakes and waffles." Indeed. Well, they are different. I don't think it's the same as pancakes. I reckon. I'd argue, right now, this could be controversial. I think that the taste. Now, imagine you've got a pancake, right? And we're going off on a food tangent now. You've got a pancake. You've got a waffle. Same toppings on the pancake, on the waffle, which you can do easily, comfortably. I would argue, in that case, that a lager has more differences between itself and an IPA than a pancake with the same toppings as a waffle with the same toppings. I will leave you with that. And you can tell me how right I am, because I don't imagine there'll be any controversial views on that. But I think the taste between a good lager and a good IPA is much different to what the taste between a pancake and a waffle is. Call me controversial. But and Rich says, who puts lemon and sugar on a waffle? Someone who is brave, Rich. Someone who is very, very brave. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Really appreciate your time. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic start to your weekend, and I hope the end to it is indeed as successful as indeed we have found ourselves to be. I will just do a quick check on when my train back from Newcastle is to let you know whether or not we'll be doing a show tomorrow morning from the hotel, because if my train is early, I might not be able to, but I think it should be all right. Let's just scroll here. Time of the train is 10 o'clock. So, yes, there will be a show tomorrow morning. No problem at all. So, we'll be doing one from the hotel tomorrow. So, I'll make sure I bring my... I need to make sure that I actually bring the microphone stand this time, so I'm not wrapping it in a pair of socks, as I did in Port Vale. But have a fantastic rest of your day, people. If you're going up to the game, have a safe journey. I'm staying overnight, as I say. So, I think there could be hopefully some celebrations in the evening if indeed we get the result that we want to. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy, respectful, and as always, up the Arsenal.